So something you guys don't know about me is that I actually cook and bake a lot. I found out that I'm allergic to gluten and dairy like 7-8 years ago, and that's when I started learning how to cook because I couldn't just like buy pre-made things anymore, or if I did, they did not taste good because 7 or 8 years ago that gluten-free game was weak sauce. So I became really good at making my own food that tasted normal, and this is one of my favorites for the holiday time. It is a spice cupcake with cream cheese frosting. It is yummy. It fools people every time into thinking that it's the real deal while still being gluten-free and dairy-free. With holiday parties coming up, this is a great thing to bring to parties with you or to make for guests that have food allergies. I'm sure they'll appreciate it, but everybody's gonna enjoy it. So I'm excited to show you guys a recipe for the first time ever, so let's just get started.
For the cake, we're going to use a cake mix actually. This is the spice cake mix from Pamela's Bakery, and you're also going to grab a jar of pureed pumpkin. Combine the wet ingredients according to the package directions. I used earth balance butter in place of normal butter, and I used almond milk in place of normal milk. And then I went rogue and added in half a cup of pumpkin puree. This mostly adds moisture to the cake, but you also get faint hits of pumpkin when you get to eat it. Once you've thoroughly combined the wet ingredients, you can go ahead and add in that dry cake mix and then beat at medium for 2 to 3 minutes. Now just use the batter to fill all of your cupcake liners to about halfway full, and once all the batter has been doled out into the cupcake cups, you can pop it into the oven at 350 degrees for 22 to 24 minutes. And while those are baking, let's move on to the icing. For the icing, measure out 4 cups of powdered sugar, 3/4 cup of butter, 4 tablespoons of cold shortening, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and then one of my secret ingredients, a half teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. It helps to bring in that tang that you missed from not using real cheese. Speaking of which, I'm going to be using 8 ounces of the Kite Hill cream cheese. Start out by creaming together the shortening and the butter. I always start with these cold, and that makes them whip up a lot better. I'm going to mix them on medium speed for 1.5 to 2 minutes to get them nice and fluffy. And then you can start adding in the sugar a little bit at a time. So we're basically starting this as if it were a buttercream because dairy-free cream cheese does not like to be whipped. So you're gonna put that in at the last minute. And until then, we're gonna get this as light and fluffy and whipped as possible. Eventually, once you add in enough sugar, it's going to be really hard to continue mixing it. At that point, you can go ahead and add in the cream cheese. Just give it a really light beating to kind of whip everything up and integrate all the different stuff together. This is also a good time to add in that vanilla, apple cider vinegar, and half teaspoon of cinnamon to finish this all off. Now, if at any part of this the icing becomes soupy or runny at all, it's probably because the ingredients got too hot, so just pop it into the freezer for like 5-10 minutes and then whip it back up and you should be good to go. Then if you're going to pipe the icing, you can either grab a piping bag or a large Ziploc bag and put your tip into one corner. Then you can just fill that sucker up full of icing, and once it's all there, you can put it in the fridge or freezer for 10 to 15 minutes to make sure that everything is nice and solidified and ready for piping. After the icing has cooled in the fridge and the cupcakes have cooled on a wire rack, you are ready to swirl that icing on top of them and finish them off, and really just, try not to eat one in the process. Or, maybe do. They're pretty tasty.
Now that I've made it, I have to taste test it. So let's just pull this back. This is probably gonna get on my nose. Let's just go ahead and not judge me for that. Okay, here we go. Oh my gosh, guys. If I do say so myself, it's really great. So from the cake, you get this awesome spicy flavor. It's almost like a carrot cake, just without the carrot. You just have that nice brown sugar and cinnamon and clove just coming at you. You get a tiny bit of the pumpkin, but what the pumpkin mostly does is makes it super moist. So it actually is like a normal cake texture, which is super cool for gluten-free. That never happens. And then it's not super sweet, which is nice because the icing kind of carries the sweetness. With the icing, you get that awesome tang from the cream cheese, but you also get some notes of butter. The cinnamon is a really great background to it, so you get lots of notes from the tanginess to the butteriness, and then you get the sweetness. So it's not like a rush of sugar at you. You get a lot of different flavor profiles that all really complement each other. At least I think so. And that feels very braggy, but hopefully I've described it to you well. I love this so much. I need to go give all the other ones away so I don't eat them all. Long story short, if you or a friend of yours has food allergies, you should try these cupcakes out this holiday season. I think you will really enjoy them. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I do new hair tutorials every Saturday and new bonus videos on Wednesdays. So go ahead and click that subscribe button and I'll see you on Saturday. Mwah. Bye. And now to finish this cupcake. This is like a chai tea latte and a cupcake, but better. Yep. Also, tell me in the comments below, do you want to see more cooking videos? I cook a lot. I can tell you guys about more stuff. I have more dessert recipes, and they're all very addictive. I'm gonna have to run like 2 miles after this to work this off. It's totally worth it.